doing. Okay, let's talk about politics for a second. Summer goes, Burnham takes over. Burnham appoints a chancellor, and the kind of drumbeat is it definitely won't be Miliband.
Pat McFadden, safe pair of hands, used to having messages sworn at him, asking people for money. He's good at that.
Yes.
Duchy of Lancaster, as he is.
Well, what is clear is the briefings that appear to be coming out of the Burnham camp is simply, look, we don't want another Blair Brown issue, and that once Miliband got in, he would suddenly turn around and saying, we must spend on this, we're not spending on that, and suddenly somebody gets fired, suddenly the pound collapses, the bond market goes mad or whatever. So that leaves, who does that leave?
Pat McFadden.
Anybody? What about Streeting?
Oh, yes, he's been mooted as well. He's been briefed. I think that might be a decent job for him. I think he needs to be around that table.
But why would you make Streeting, who never had any work, right? So he's now in his early 40s. Since 18, he's been in either student politics, council politics, parliamentary politics, never any work, right? All of that, and how I'm going to spend Clare's money, right? And then announces the other day when he's out of office, he then says,
I'm going to back Burnham.
No, not that I'm going to back Burnham. I quite understand that he's in politics. He's either saying I'm backing Burnham or I'm backing out. But then he says, I'm going to start taxing capital gains, i.e., you put £20,000 into your son's business, and suddenly that turns out, by the way, 95% of startups go bust. In that 5% turns out to be worth 100 grand. We're going to tax it at your marginal rate of taxation, 45% instead of 25%. Why would you trust somebody like that who never said one single bloody word about his taxation policies prior to that?
I don't think he knows what his taxation policy would be. I mean, Rachel Reeves yesterday, or the day before, of course, is now taxing at 22% cash and shares ISAs.
Sure, shocking.
I mean, it's just an absolute shocker. I mean, my mother was like, I've saved and saved and saved. She's 81, and now this is going to be taxed. I'm already on pension, and everything. She was opted out of SERPs. It's just criminal what this government are doing and what their plan is.
I think I'm so pleased you raised that, because that's quite a complicated. That 22% applies to interest that you earn when not invested in stocks. So the whole point about stocks is buying stocks and selling stocks and then buying stocks. These aren't back-to-back transactions. She's done this because she knows she's leaving.
She's spiteful. It's another one that's spiteful.
She's leaving, so it's over for her.
Yeah.
So she leaves a ticking bomb under the table, saying, for your mother, and actually for lots of other people, right?
My daughter, my eldest daughter.
Right, who suddenly is going to discover they're going to get a surprise tax bill at the end of it when they thought it was tax-free. I would like to see, but what I never hear from whether it's Rupert Lowe, Nigel Farage, Badenoch, I never hear the detail of them saying we're going to hold a great repeal and we are going to repeal all these things. So all these things, and they're scared to say it because our country, because we don't create any wealth. Nobody believes in money making in this country. I want to hear people in our country saying, I want to make some money. I want to live in a big house. I'd like to drive a Ferrari. I know they're ridiculous things, but just to say I'd like to hand all my money over to some skint and idle person.
For me, it's not the material ideal. It's not heading for that. It's just being able to have enough money. I want to strive. You want that entrepreneurship. You want that desire. You want that ambition. And you want to have that, because if we're all mealy-mouthed people sitting in tubes, looking so forlorn, having no direction, no oomph, as we used to say, then what is the point?
Where were you born?
Just outside Glasgow.
Just outside Glasgow. Did your mother still live in Scotland?
Yes,
Where does she live?
Out in Bridge of Weir, Quarriers Village.
Where is that?
It's beautiful. It's west. It's Renfrewshire. It's West Glasgow, near the coast.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. How does she feel about the fact that she has to pay extra tax then by living in Scotland?
And, you know, the other disparity, obviously, is the weather, because they're much colder up there than they are down here. So that winter fuel allowance, albeit 300 quid, it was still a help, Kelvin.
Was it? Well, look, your mother sounds as though she's a bright woman. Tell her to get out there and get going. No, seriously, I don't see. If you want to die early, you want to die.
No, she still drives a car. She goes out. She's got a beautiful flat.
I want us to totally scrap the idea of retirement as an idea, right? And I think people should carry on doing. The great explosion in employment right now is in the over 60s,
I know.
right? Are they being driven to do it? Possibly. Good, actually. If not, they're doing it because they want a few more pennies to come in. Good. But the other great benefit of that is that they're sitting there thinking rather than watching Escape to the Country.
And also life experience.
Yeah,
you know,
meeting people.
Meeting people and bringing out a lot of common sense that's so void.
So why is it? So you and I having a good chat, we come from similar backgrounds, and I'm so pleased about your ISA thing, which was raised to me only last night in bed by my missus, to be honest. So I got some updating. She said, well, make yourself useful, campaign against that. So I'm very pleased. And say to your mum, actually, you found a friend in Jesus. Yeah. I'm on her side. So why is it that the preferred discussion in this area would be, actually, we need the money, we've got loads of skin, we've got loads of this, we've got loads of that. Poverty in this country is off the dial. Look at the state of people's houses. If you want to have a really gloomy view of life, just watch the crappy BBC Local for London news programme, in which they manage always to have found a house where there is water running down the thing, and a family who have literally probably been in the country about 20 minutes and are complaining about the fact that they've got nowhere to live.
20% of people are living in poverty at the moment in this country, and that is please believe it.
Why? Not in Chiswick where you live.
The housing situation is dire.
No, it's not.
Kelvin, I've rented a house that was full of damp, and it was very difficult to get out, and the local authority did nothing. Okay. Absolutely nothing.
And what about now? Everything's fine.
So it is real. Well, I've had another heart operation, and life happens, and you just have to get on with it, and you have to keep going and pushing yourself forward. And by that strength, by that resilience, I agree with that. That's how we got on in life.
I agree with that. But everybody has a damp house story in them now. As a landlord, I can honestly tell you that actually I would like to live in some of the houses that I rent out.
No, but that's a very privileged position for you to sit there and say that.
But it's not privileged.
It is privileged. It is privileged because you had a good job. And don't just say that was through sheer guts and determination. There's an element of luck involved as well. The markets were better. It was easier to get more money. The buy-to-lets were easier to get. You cannot compare apples and pears.
Well, I don't look. I'm not suggesting I was beyond lucky. I left school. I had zero academic achievements at all. I mean, when I say zero, I took 8 what were then O levels, and I failed them all. No, I got one. And my parents were distraught. Right, hugely ambitious mother, very clever woman. Right, this was not her idea for this shining light. Right? And so I then went to effectively a technical college where I took them all again and failed the lot. So because she wanted me to have all 8 on one piece of paper, so I took 16 GCSEs as they would be today, and I got 1. And so I totally accept I've had a bloody lucky life, and I'm sure it's true that there are a lot of unlucky people out there. But what do you think I pay my taxes for? It's to keep these people from literally marching down the street wanting to seize assets, because that's what taxation's about. It's a bribe to make people not attack you. So I am not in favour of a situation. I've said this before on this thing, where when I'm in the US. They don't talk about welfare in the way we do, because pay is up there and welfare is there. In this country.
Oh, I mean.
And therefore, where is the incentive where thanks to benefits and various other aspects of life, where is the drive to make you go out there and do a job where you're going to get the same money if you don't do anything?
Well, your mental health, for one. We know that working is far better for everyone than not working, and that's the message that should be sent across. And also, the state should be there only as a safety net.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I've never had to draw on it,
yeah.
but it should only be there as a safety net. It shouldn't be there as a lifestyle choice. But unfortunately, within those poverty statistics, you've got kids running around feral almost. You've got kids who can't speak English.
Whose fault is that, though? I refuse to feel responsible for kids running around.
I'm not saying as a taxpayer you should be feeling responsible.
But you're asking me to pay for them.
I'm not asking you to pay for them. What I was just about to say was that's a poverty cycle. It perpetuates. The only thing that gets out of it is education. The only way you can get out of that is by present parenting. That's the only way you can get out of that.
So how can we force people to do the right thing about a child they brought into the world?
Well, instead of going to NCT fluffy classes, or instead of going to antenatal classes that just, once you're in the thrust of labour, you can't even remember your own name, let alone a birth plan, or how many times you have to breathe, start giving nutrition, cooking and parenting classes in there, within the demographic that needs it. Something has to change. And after having been at the family courts for a myriad of years, following lots of cases, social work, lawyers, solicitors, judges, there's no joined up thinking at all. Absolutely none.
How do you mean, though, Claire?
And in care, sorry?
How do you mean? In what sense, no joined up?
The social workers are involved when it's too late, often. The solicitor will then act, and because of the backlog, needs to get a QC involved. And then the judge is just sitting there, almost like, oh, what day of the week is it? What case am I doing? Right? Meanwhile, you've got children living in foster care. You've got children being taken away from their families, waiting for this case to come through because of a deep and utter lack of parenting skills at the very beginning. It can start at schools, it can start in hospitals. But it has to start somewhere, because this problem will not go away, and it's only going to get worse.
I totally get that, but my experience, actually, it's untrue. I don't have experience, right? But I presume these kids, who are not kids, actually, there's much less children being born to mid-teenage girls, to be fair. So I think the numbers are much, much less than they were. So, but my question is, what are you going to do about dealing with kids, or they are kids, teenagers or whatever, people having children when they're too young to know how to raise them? How are you supposed to train them? The idea of saying, make a Victoria sponge does not seem to me to be a solution.
Those words did not come out of my mouth.
No, but you were saying, how are you going to train them?
Teenage pregnancies aren't the problem. Teenage pregnancies, honestly, are not the problem.
Oh, no, I totally get that.
It's the parents of the teenage pregnancies. That's the issue, and the parents beyond that.
But what are you going to do? Actually, what can be done about that, Claire?
I've just said we're going to have to start giving. I mean, they train for DEI, don't they? They can train for useless things, not only in the NHS, but also in schools. They can do so much. We need to get into these schools and develop the characters of these kids. Show them that welfare is not a way of life. Houses that are being built at the moment are not fit for human consumption, a lot of them, because, I'll tell you, the kitchen areas, they don't have proper cookers, they don't have the ability to have a table and chairs in the kitchen. These families don't know how to communicate with one another. They can't see the benefit of that. And if it's lost then it'll be another lost generation, and then another one that will still be existent on the welfare state, which is 5 times the budget of our defence of this country.
Okay, so we've always had this problem. Has this problem got worse with the arrival of a number of people from other parts of the world?
There's definitely a bulge. Clearly there is, because people here are living longer, so the more influx of people, what's that? Obviously it's a bulge. Obviously.
So how can we start teaching them when many of them don't seem to be able to? Do they want to learn? Do they want to change? Their instinctive comes from their background.
I've not met any of the refugee men that are coming over in boats, Kelvin. I couldn't tell you. What I could possibly assume although I never want to assume because it makes an ass out of you and me. I think that in some of the court cases that we've had coming up so far, the perpetrators can't even read or write English. So in order for them to have filled out a 12-page document in order to seek asylum, someone clearly is helping them that can speak English, that knows the system. They're the targets in my view, and they should be targeted. They should be stopped. And anyone that wants to apply for asylum has to go through the normal process that should not be paid for by the taxman.